We're starting. All right. Welcome, everyone. This session is called Engage Readers with Digital Tools. And we are going to explore a few different e-reading tools and websites that also support reading responses. We will definitely have time at the end to explore the apps and ask questions. And I would love it if you would share some that you already know. So we're going to jump right in. This slide deck is only 3 pages, but that is because the bulk of it is in a Padlet, which is another app that I think is really conducive to collaborating on ideas. So the second page in the presentation is a link to a Padlet. I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat also if you are just listening instead of following along in the presentation. But if everyone could go ahead and open up that Padlet. Padlet is a great website. If you've never used it, we just have the free version in Plainfield. So there are some limits in the number of Padlets you can have. I use it often enough that now I like delete a Padlet and change it to use it again, like something that I'm no longer using. If we had the paid version, you could have like unlimited Padlets, but it's a great app to group ideas together. It's similar to Wakelet if you've ever used Wakelet, but it allows you to include links, but it also allows you just to include text, images, anything, and then you can share it. And this I shared so we can all collaborate together, but you can also share it as view only, which means no one can add or delete or change any of the things you've already added. But I want this to kind of be a living document in case you think of something that you can add to it. So that's why I've used Padlet. Before I start going over the ones that are already on the screen, I want to show you how you can add an idea if you already know of another site that is great for reading. You simply just click on the plus sign at the bottom, and then you would type the name of the website that you know about. You could also put the link in if you grab the link. You could type something down here with additional information about it, and then you just click publish, and it'll show up somewhere. We can move things around, and they'll just order themselves differently. But that's how you do it. I'm going to delete this one for now because we don't need it.
Excuse me, Judy, are
Yeah.
you sharing your screen with us?
Nope. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for saying something. Just a second.
Thank you. I was following along.
I'm so glad you said something. There we go. Phew. Okay, here we go. Padlet. So everything I said about it, now it makes sense because you could see it. Over in the corner, the edit button, you can add things if you like. So if I click here, I can go ahead and add something. So if you think of something that you want to add, go right ahead. Just be careful that you don't edit anyone else's things. So I'm going to start with, I don't know, what I think is the best one. And it might also take us the most time. I can't remember if I said this at the beginning, but we'll take about 45 minutes to go through this stuff. And then we'll have some work time where you can stay and play around and ask questions, or you can leave and then work on it on your own. So the first one is a brand new feature in Google Classroom that actually our district enabled and gave us access to just last week or the week before. It is called Read Along, and it is using AI, which is like a scary word for some people. And it is scary in some regards, but in this case, it's amazing. So if you want to try it out, I did put a link to my sample Google Classroom down here at the bottom of this Padlet. And if you click on that, it will bring you into my student classroom. You could also just watch if you want to, but I'm going to go into my Google Classroom and walk you through creating assignments using this read along. Before I do that though, in the Padlet, there is a link to all of the steps about how to do this. So you don't have to remember what I'm doing. We are recording this session. Plus you can go back to this Padlet and open up Google support, and it will walk you through all of the steps that I'm going to do now. But for now, let me go into my Google Classroom. And I just called it Read Along Examples. I gave you all a link if you want to join as a student. Hopefully that would work if you're interested. But then to create things, I already have some created, but I'm going to create some more. You simply click on create. If you've not used Google Classroom before, the create button is pretty much where you start with everything. And I'm going to go ahead and choose assignment. And you will see that one of the options down below is now read along. So I'm going to click read along. And it will open up with the options that I have. And it literally is the title, read along. A student opens up their assignment and they read along with it. And the AI, students have to use headphones with a microphone, and the computer hears them. And if they stumble over a word, the computer gives them support and will say, try again, or try, like it'll give them a little tip. And then eventually, if they get it completely wrong, the computer will say, the word is blank. So that's what it means by read along. It's reading along with them. Also, it collects all the data. So it will show you how your students are doing and what they have completed, as well as their proficiency and other data about the fluency. So it is a great tool for tracking data, as well as giving students an opportunity to practice their fluency when maybe you aren't available as a teacher to be with every student, because that's impossible, right? Okay, so once it pops up, you have some choices to make. You can either choose leveled books, which are probably similar to like a book room type of experience, but you also could choose decodables, which allow you, once you click on it, to choose some different options. And I used some of these options in my examples, but I'll do one more. I'm going to choose word patterns. And now it shows me all the decodable options for word patterns. I can even go even further and choose a phonics skill if I want to. And it limits it even more. There's 14 books, and I just pick the one I want. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Excuse me. Horrible time to run out of water. Sorry. So before I attach it, I can look at it to see what the student view looks like. And it also gives me some information here about what the activity will be covering. But let me look at student view. Yes, this is accessible for anyone that has Google Classroom. It's a Google Classroom tool, not necessarily something specific to a grade level. The decodables, the reading level of the decodables is definitely lower because those skills are taught at the lower grade. We all know kids are learning these things at all different paces though. So you could choose whatever level you need. I'll go ahead and click start reading. And remember, this is the student view. So if you were doing this yourself, this is what you can see. And the student will have to allow their microphone. What if you need to go someplace? Some you've never been. Can you hear the audio, everyone, from the computer? Okay, I'm going to pause it and there's a way for me to fix that. So just a moment. Would use you. Can you hear it now? Okay, hang on. I have one more option. It's like repeating the word I got wrong, but it's how I'm sharing my screen that is making it not work. Classroom. I just have to choose the correct screen. Hang on just a second.
Way.
Okay, hopefully now. War, way, these, days, all a person had to done
Do.
Do you see how it fixes it? And I purposely stopped reading to give the computer time to talk. I know a student would read through the whole
Is.
thing, but now that I'm talking to you, she's listening to me thinking I'm saying all the wrong words. So it's a little hard to do when I'm also narrating it to you guys. But a student would read through all of it. If they pause long enough, it does give them support, and see how it's underlining
Cell.
it also. I'll do a tiny bit more. Cell, phone, for, directions.
Well done. You
And I
got
earned
that.
points, which is all about that, right? Smart phones use GIPs to find out low. I'm going to stop there just so we have time to kind of go over everything else.
Read
But
this out loud.
that gives you,
R.
I'm going to close this tab just to get back to Google Classroom. There we go. So that gives you an idea of the student view. Very basic and primary with the decodables. But if this is the one you want, you can click attach. And then it will pop up for attaching it to your Google Classroom the same way you attach other things. And you can change the title and stuff like that and click assign. You can even choose which students you want to assign it to, because you would have your whole list of students in your roster. So you can adjust it that way, and then just click assign. So now I have 5 of them here. I don't have any data to show you about what they have finished, but in the link here in our Padlet, let me go back and share a different screen. In this link in the Padlet, as you scroll down, it does give you data and shows you what the data looks like for students. It gives you accuracy information. It gives you comprehension information. As we were assigning it, you may have noticed under the story, it said how many questions were in the story. So there are some comprehension questions. So it's an amazing resource. It's brand new, so it's, very well could be things will get added and changed with it. But I definitely think it has a place in Google Classroom with a lot of our students, especially our early readers and students working on those skills. Any questions about read along? Are there options for microphones for students to use? So I think that varies by building, that you would need check with your media specialist. At Wallen Oaks, we have like some headphones, like the larger ones, and they have the microphone on them. I know every building at the elementary level has those. The quantity of those, I don't know. I do know that the computers have a built-in microphone. So even though if there's not a microphone on their headset, the microphone on the computer will pick up their sound. So they'll be able to do it there. They probably would need like their own little cozy space to do this, but it seems like a great app. I'm excited to see it kind of in action and get feedback on what people like think about it. Okay, the rest of these don't take quite as long. I'm going to start at the back here. SOPA approved websites. So SOPA is what the district uses to make sure websites are approved for student use. That link takes you to the list that all of the websites that the district uses are listed there. It is a great resource, but also reach out to your media specialist or put in a help desk ticket if there is a website you found that you think is outstanding, but you're not sure if you're allowed to use it. Basically, any websites that track data where the student has to log in would be something you'd want to make sure they're on the approved list. Then I listed Tumblebooks and Learning A to Z. Those are 2 programs we currently have that are currently linked in Clever. Learning A to Z does allow you to collect data. It's Raz Kids if you've used that before. I know at the elementary level, we all have used it, but it is a resource we currently have in the district, and it does have capabilities for you to assign books, assign skills, etc. It is rostered, so you have to be a teacher with a roster of students under your name for that. And I know that is an elementary level thing. I am not sure if that is a middle school app that middle schoolers use. Your reading specialists would be the go-to people for Raz Kids as far as knowing if you have access to it, also with using certain parts of it to see what would work best with certain students. I listed 2 nonfiction. Actually, I have 3, Britannica School, but that has some login particulars. So these 2, Nat Geo for Kids and Time for Kids, they're just articles, but they're written at student reading levels. And if you couple that with like an accessibility tool like Google Chrome Read and Write, which allows students to just press play and listen to the text, it opens up the app to kind of being more accessible for students. But even without using an extension that allows them to listen to it, they can read. And it's all informational text about lots and lots of varieties of topics. You don't need to sign into them at all. Students can search for a topic and read about it. It is not evaluative, so you don't have data that you collect from them, but they are places for students to go to read informational text. Let's see, we have Destiny Discover, Britannica School, and Book Creator. Destiny, we'll start back at the beginning. Destiny Discover is our library website. So there's a part of Destiny Discover, there's a part of Destiny, which is our library site, called Destiny Discover. And you get to it from this website. So I left the link. The link is in there in the Padlet if you wanted to enable this for your students. You also could work collaboratively with your media specialist to have it set up. But everyone can see some portion of it, and students can search for ebooks. Once you or your students click on this link, that you or your student would choose their school and then log in. You do have to log in to see the ebooks. The ebooks that we have access to in our district are all from this program called eRead Illinois, and it is a group of books, a large amount of books, but it's available to many, many schools in the state of Illinois that participate in the program. So it is something that we have access to. Login information for you is your district username and password. And I did list this over here. Login information for students is their ID number. So that number that starts with 11. They don't type it as an email, just their ID number, and then their password is the password they use for school. And it does prompt you to save it, so they don't have to type it over and over again. I've used this with kindergartners, and it definitely takes modeling and some one-on-one, like put your password in, let's save it. But then they can fly. It's already saved. So then they open it, and it's already filled in for the username and password. I'm going to go ahead and go over to Destiny Discover. I forgot to do that before I signed in. I'm going to go back to this page where I choose my school. Sorry about that. Let me go back to this link. And I did type all this correctly in there. I just did it wrong that moment. Okay. Wallen Oaks catalog. Here's Destiny Discover over here. I apologize. I should have clicked on that first. Destiny Discover. It takes a moment to load, but as long as you chose your correct school, it will load for you. And there are some ebooks here. There will be more available if a student logs in. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And you can see my information is saved. A student's information would be saved also. Oh, you can't see my screen. Hang on. I'm so sorry. Oh. Entire screen. So sorry. Just to recap, I'm in Destiny Discover down this column, and I clicked on the link. I chose my school, and then I went into catalog and chose Destiny Discover. And I logged in. I link this directly into Clever for my kids. So you could do the same. Like once you choose your school, you could get all the way to this page and then copy and paste this URL into your Google Classroom or into Clever if you maintain a Clever page. And then you can bypass all that other work from your students. I can't give you the direct link because I don't know what school you work at. So you have to go through those steps to choose your school. But once you do that, then I would recommend pulling this link right here because that will get you directly here when kids click on it. All right, so then when you sign in, it'll have your name or the student's name in the corner, and ebooks might show up on the home screen. I have it set to show up, but it will look different for every school, and that's okay. Because really what we can do is just click the word any and go to ebook. You also could go to audiobook. There are audiobooks available, but we're going to focus on ebooks. And students could search anything. They could choose a topic. They could choose an author. They could leave that blank and just press enter, and it will show every ebook available in our school or in the district. And then they can simply read. If you've used any ebook websites before, it's pretty similar. They can click on the title to check it out, or they could just click play or open to read it. And they can read it with their eyes. There's also a feature to press play. Oops, I logged on more than once. Let me try again. So it's just similar to many other ebook things, but because we are part of eRead Illinois, we have access to it. So I highly recommend it. And this is K through 12. Sometimes the playing, because I'm using Google Meet and the audio for Google Meet, that this is causing a problem. Also, sometimes in the summer when school is not in session, the ebooks don't work as well. But during the school year, they're very effective. And the kids find lots of things that they like. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go back to here and talk about Britannica School and Book Creator. Britannica School, if you're not familiar, Britannica School is an online encyclopedia. We do have a district subscription for K through 12. It is accessible. It has audio options. It has changing the language options. It has leveled text options. The sign-in for it, all of the information is on our Padlet here for how students and staff would sign in. But basically, the initials are your school initials, and the password is 202. And then it opens up. For me, because I've already used it, it opened up to here. But typically, the first page looks like this, and you would choose your level. I would choose elementary. And then students can do a few things. Students can just start searching for something, but there is lots of different information on here as well that allows kids to read different things. I've used the biography section before for kids to read articles. They could watch videos. Once you get into an article, so if I look for frogs, I can find a variety of articles about frogs. And when I open them, I have some accessibility features for it. I can change the level to make it easier or more difficult. Once I chose level 2, it bumped me over to the middle school. So it even gives me a more challenging level. I can go back to level 1. And that kept me in the middle school. So I'm going to go back one more time. Here we go. You can press play. You won't be able to hear the audio because of how the screen shares, but it basically reads every sentence as it's highlighted in. And when it finishes the highlighted sentence, it moves on to the next one. You can stop. There is an option over here under translate to choose a language. So if you have Spanish speaking students or Spanish reading students in your class, you can change the text to Spanish. I pressed play and it is playing it. I'm going to pause the play because it makes that flashing noise. It has the play option for Spanish. Not every language has the play option. Spanish did not have the play option for quite a few years, but it's great that it's there now. Someone asked, for middle school, you have to type the full school. Oh, Heritage Grove Middle School. Yes. For elementary, we have to type Wallen Oaks Elementary School, WOES, like the ES for elementary school. So that is Britannica School. There is an area of Britannica School that allows you as a teacher to kind of focus a student's reading. So kids can go in and explore, but they also can have some pre-organized resources. And that is a whole other presentation in itself. But I do have a presentation link down here for how you as a teacher could create a resource list of a certain amount of articles. So for example, I made articles all about Black History Month, and I put them all in one little resource, like file folder, if you will. And then I got the link for that file folder and I gave it to teachers. And so they put that link in their Google Classroom instead of just telling kids to go on Britannica School and read whatever you want. It allowed them, when the kid clicked on it, it opened up just a list of articles related to that. So I do have directions for that here at the bottom of additional resources. That covers like places to read on here. Book Creator is a place for students to create something about what they read. And there's many, many examples within Book Creator. And there is a presentation linked there on the Padlet that walks you through all the steps of different things you could do in Book Creator and what students could do. But there really are some amazing templates. So like you could find a template for book summarizing. You could find a template for character analysis. There's just endless possibilities. And of course you could create something for yourself as well, but it's more of a reading response app rather than a reading app. But once they've created things, they could read each other's things and practice reading that way. But like I said, it's not pre-made books with like words for kids to read in them. If you've never used Book Creator, I highly recommend it. Even if you just create a library for your students to make their own journals. This happens to be a little library I have of books that I've used just throughout the years. But it's in the form of basically library shelves, and kids can start new books and write whatever they want. Like I said, like reading response, things like that. And again, if you want information about creating that, the link is here. And I believe in Summer Summit, someone is doing a book creator session as well. That covers all of my ideas for places to go for students to read online. Hopefully, like we went over a balance of like kind of just enjoying reading, like Tumble books, and also some focused reading like Raz Kids and the read along option. Fiction and nonfiction, there's options there for you as well. And then hopefully there's some options for all of the grade levels, elementary and middle and high school. So if you have other ones, feel free to add them to here. If you having trouble logging into Britannica, I work at Timber Ridge. I'll try to log on in just a minute for you so we can see if it's a problem with the login. Now we have about 15 more minutes. You are welcome to stay and ask questions. Before you leave, though, if you could please go to either the last page of my presentation or just go to the chat. I just am putting a link in the chat now for my exit survey. If you could please complete that. There's only 4 questions, but 2 of them are optional. And it really does help me kind of improve in my presenting. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming. Stick around if you want to work and ask questions, or have a wonderful day and a great start to your school year. Yes, going through Clever is what students typically do, at least at the elementary level. Many of them, they click on the Britannica School icon in Clever, and then that gets them there. That is the link I used in our Padlet for Britannica School. So I'm going to try, I'll log out and try the link. Sometimes it doesn't.
Excuse me, Judy, I got it. It's TRMS.
Yes, that's what it is. And it worked for you now?
So, yes, so it's Timber Ridge Middle School. So I need to add. MS at the end. Thank you very much, Christopher, for your help.
And again, don't forget to do that attendance if you want CPDUs. That's important.
Junior, was there I missed the first like 5 minutes. Was there an
Yes.
attendance that I missed?
Yep. Let me put the link in chat again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Okay, it should be in there. It's a Google form. If you want CPDUs, definitely fill it out. If you're not interested in the CPDUs, you don't need to fill it out.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.